Yay, I'm live. Hey, everybody.
Hi, Thomas.
Hey.
How are
Hello, buddy.
you?
I'm
Okay,
good.
so we were having a little bit technical issue right there.
Yeah, okay.
So I wanted to have you as a guest on my show, okay?
Okay.
And I want to introduce what my show is about first.
Okay.
And I also prepared introduction paragraph for you, okay?
Okay. Well, I'll be famous after this show. Is it like
Yeah, for
I'll
sure.
be a big star or something like that?
For sure, yes. I mean, you
Okay.
are already.
All
Okay,
right.
so my okay, so this is okay, so my name is Natsune. I'm a host of Life Up Education TV.
Yeah.
And today I wanted to, it's actually vice versa right now. I've noticed.
Yeah, I should present myself, right? You probably have a hell of a lot
No,
more
I mean, like, I'm doing
viewers
this
than I
on
do. Your Instagram. So
Okay. Should we like switch to my account so that, you know, you're the guest, or it doesn't matter?
isn't it the same though?
No, it's not the same. We're hosting on your followers.
That's cool though. Yeah. No, I think they can come in. They'll see you and they'll see me too at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. So today, thank you for having me on your Instagram live. Today,
Of course. You're
I
welcome,
wanted to have
buddy.
the interview with you because I am a host of Life Up Education TV. And Life Up Education TV is a show where I interview high achievers and people with inspirational stories, right? So, and I know that your story, and actually, as I was writing your story as a guest, it was a lot of fun to write, and I didn't struggle at all because you're a super interesting person, probably like the most interesting person that I know.
Wait, let me fix my hair while you say that. Yeah, look good. No?
Okay, so can I kind of share what I wrote for you?
Okay.
The
Okay.
introduction.
Share what you wrote
Okay.
then. Yeah.
So I said, welcome everybody. Today's guest is a Swedish serial entrepreneur who made it. Oh, sorry, one more time. Okay, it goes. Today's guest is a Swedish serial entrepreneur who moved to Shanghai and came to Japan, studied acting while modeling, started his own company as a foreigner living in Tokyo, worked with numbers of highly respected big brands, including multinational corporations, Toyota and Tokyo Japanese Exchange, and so many more brands. Yeah. But
I think you're writing a little bit too much about me. I mean,
well,
you. That's very sweet
like,
of you.
this is so little of you. Like, there's just so much goes into who you are. I just kind of had to like rush it in to like write everything. But if I actually spend like a lot of solid time trying to write about you, I can promise I can make like a movie out of it.
Oh, really?
But yeah, well, that being said, you're a very interesting person.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, like I wanted to interview you on the show because one of the major message I sent out with Life Up Education TV is being courageous in life, right? And you are very courageous in life. So I wanted to kind of pick up your brain and, teach that to everybody else, make it available for everybody else. Yeah?
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Okay.
Well, so today's interview
I got shy now.
Well, no, I mean, really, like, you deserve this. So
Okay.
today's interview is gonna be very casual because me and you are like best friends. Um,
Yeah.
so I didn't particularly prepare any kinds of questions, any questions particularly,
Okay.
because I wanted to kind of, make it more conversational.
All right. All right.
Yeah. So let's talk about you, okay? Let's talk about you.
Can I introduce you as well?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, let me introduce you. So, this is my best friend, Nana. She is by far one of the most energetic people I know. She has, you know, every time I've ever been in trouble, she's always come to my aid. She has created, several businesses already, with an online shop, with billion dollar baby store,
This is
$1 billion baby
nice
story,
flawless face.
and
Right.
Life Up Education
Education
TV.
TV. Mhm.
Exactly. And also, not only
Yes.
that, I mean, you just wrote a book and you just finished it. So this is, who does that?
By the way, 450 pages. Thank you very much.
Exactly. Who does that? Who writes a book and who writes 450 pages in a book? That's what amazing people do that. That's what amazing people do. So,
Yeah, it took me a long time to finish, but
yeah,
it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot too.
yeah. So I was really impressed by everything you've done.
Thank
I
you very
really,
much. This is very kind of you too. Okay, so I want to talk about you today. Okay.
okay.
Okay. So, well, give us a little bit of background. I mean, I know you very much because, we're best friend, but I never really heard the entire story of you, really. Like you talk to me like here and there, right? Like you pick up story from
I
here and
see.
there, but yeah. So, can you tell me the entire story of your life story?
Oh, okay. Well, it started at the end of the world, basically Sweden, Gothenburg. So this is like a place that is super remote. Like, it's far away from everything that anybody on this side of the planet would ever imagine. Like it's very far away, and it's a small place, and it's a place where everybody knows everybody. It's a place where you grow up, and you know who lives in this building, who lives in that building. You know who's the richest guy in the city. You know who's the poorest guys in the city. And I started maybe working a little bit young because I was always curious about money. I was always curious about doing things, etc. And that kind of led me to kind of like, okay, well, I like working, I like doing things, I like exploring, and I think this is the basic, like human uh, thing, which is curiosity and exploring your curiosity. And I think everybody has that. Everybody wakes up one day and they're like curious about something new. They get bored of something old very fast, and then they want to do new things. And the same was I.
Right.
But um, since Gothenburg, then I moved to China, and I studied there. I studied acting and theater, etc. At the same time, I studied like university economics and stuff like that on the online Swedish university system. So that was kind of interesting. And then after China, and I think this is where, like, I'm going to tell you one thing where I did not, where I was not brave. And it was actually, there's this character, this famous person called James Bond, right? And Craig Daniel, the actor Craig Daniel, had just become James Bond. And he came out in an interview and he said, it took me 15 years to make it in the acting industry. And at that point, I was like, whoa, I have to be broke and starving for 15 years until I make it in the acting, before I can eat. And that's what he explained that it was. And at that point, I was like, man, I got to innovate. I got to do something different. I like acting. I like storytelling. I like doing all that stuff. So I moved to Japan and I started studying, more theater here, as well as I started modeling. And then at that point, I was like, okay, well, you know, maybe I don't have to be broken act. Maybe I can do it differently. Maybe I can, you know, find a way. Maybe, you know, I can do it just differently. Maybe it won't be as fast as Greg Daniel did. Sure, it took him 15 years still, but, you know, like, still, he's one of the most famous actors in the world, right? So I said to myself, okay, well, why don't I open something that has to do with what I love? Where I first started, I started making a photo studio. And I started doing a photo studio. I got more and more interested, and I was like, okay, well, this is very interesting. And then I started making videos. I started working at an advertisement agency. And then when I learned everything, when I realized everything, I met one of the best guys I've ever met in my entire life, which was my business partner, whose name's Connor Sullivan, which you met. And Connor then said, you know, let's do this together. Let's do it. Let's start an advertisement agency. And then we did. And now, 4 years down the road, I can start acting again. Yeah. Which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, because I remember you also told me about having the event company, you know, that was like one of the very early venture of yours, right? Like, can you explain
Absolutely.
also?
So when I was in Sweden, I started my first company when I was 17. It was basically with my brothers. And I said, you know, we needed ways to make money. And I was bored of this, you know, working at some cafe, McDonald's, whatever it was, making like $10 an hour. And I think these ideas basically come from my older brother. I was lucky I had an older brother who, my brother Carl, who was extremely, let's do it us, and let's do it together, you know? So what we did was we went to all the concerts and all the arenas in all of Scandinavia. We went to Oslo, we went to Gothenburg, went to Stockholm, and we kind of contracted with them outside. And then we started selling Coca-Cola, earplugs, hot dogs, anything like, you know, even football t-shirts on football tournaments, whatever. And people who came to these concerts, like, we were just like, yo guys, you want to buy something? We got some. Hey, you know, that kind of casualty. And they just loved it, and they just bought from us. So after 6 years, I was basically like #1 in all of Scandinavia. I had 90% of the market.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It took 6 years, but, you know, and there was a lot of people to compete out. So,
so I'm taking a note because I wanted to make a follow-up questions, right? So
okay.
You mentioned a few things that triggered my interest. One of them is when you talk about curiosity. So you said that everybody has curiosity, and I agree. But why do you think so many people are scared, right? Like their fear always wins over curiosity. So many people.
Yeah.
This is the way usually. But what do you think about you makes your curiosity wins over the fear? Why are you so adventurous? How can everybody become like you?
So in my case, it was you know, I think it was desperation that pushed my curiosity. I was always in a situation which was like, okay, well, shit, the world just fell apart and I got to do something, you know? And then I was like, okay, well, let's look at a million options, and then let's just do it. 500,000 options, and let's see what works. And then, okay, well, all of these works, let's go for it. And I think that this kind of comes, but it's not necessarily, that's not necessary though. I think it's a lot of mindset, and I think it's a lot of blocking. So when we're kids, when we're growing up, you grow up and you're told no your whole life, basically. This is from your parents trying to protect you. When you say, when you try to, you know, grab a cookie or try to drink chocolate or whatever it is, or, you know, like, walking on a table or, you know, climbing around in the house or whatever it is. And your parents are going to come up to you and say no. And this basically blocks your mind. It blocks your mind a lot. So a lot of people, they have a lot of mind blocks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries.
In their mind. And I was lucky because I studied theater. And theater, what you do, the first thing you do is to unblock this. Like, so for example, in theater, you can't say no. You can only say yes, but. Also, when somebody in theater, when they give you something or hand you something and tells you this is a fork, you can't say, no, this is not a fork, it's a spoon. You can't say that. If it is a spoon, you got to make it into a fork. So this kind of thinking unblocks your mind a lot. And since I practiced it a lot, this always took me to places where, you know, I always had no objections to try something. I could always try something. There was nothing that ever held me back from trying something. Whatever it was, you know, I would just, okay, well, let's try it. Let's see where it goes. Let's find out more information about it. And if you have these blocks in your mind, people they don't move on them, you know, like they kind of, oh, well, yeah, well, maybe this will happen, or maybe that will happen, or maybe it'll be a negative outcome. So yeah, nah.
Yeah. And I think that's also, I very much agree with you. And I think that's, wait, I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so next one.
No, I want to have you comment. Come on.
No, I forgot what I was
think, huh? What do you think?
Okay. No. Okay, so next one. So another thing that triggered my interest as you were speaking was the selling skill. So you seem to be like very good salesman, and you started selling at a very early age, you know? But what do you think, what is your definition of sales? Like, what do you think are the qualities that makes a salesman a good salesman?
Sales is only one thing, and it's making believe. That's what it is. If you believe in something, people believe you. If you don't believe in it, people are not going to believe you. And sales is all make believe, like 100%. Like, if you believe in something, you will buy it. And if you don't believe in it, you won't. So whoever, you know, if somebody tries to sell to you and he's really good at, you know, getting you to believe in what he's selling, and then he needs the last thing, which is a need. You know, he needs to have a need for it, you know. Yeah. So he will buy. That's it. And
right. Like, for example, I want to dig a little bit deeper into that. So you said that you were selling, you know, goods related to your events, right?
Yes.
But then when it comes to small stuff like this, it's kind of hard to make a belief. Like, what do you mean by that in terms of whatever you were selling?
Okay, so listen to this. I was selling earplugs at concerts. And the first thing people would tell me is like, why would I ever need earplugs at a concert? That's so stupid. You're an idiot. You should go home. And, you know, and it sounds stupid, right? But then you have to make people believe that this is what they need. So I go like, but yo, what if you end up right next to a mega speaker? That'll fuck you up, make your head ring for like a week, you know, or whatever, you know. You just like say things, you know. And what you know, what if you want to rest yourself, you know, like it's 120 decibels in there, which is like an airplane, you know, the sound loudness of an airplane. And you go like, well, what if you want to rest your ears like 5 minutes? Just grab, you know, like grab some earplugs. And that didn't work, you know. People were like, yeah, but it's still earplugs, you know. So we had to innovate. So we started calling it party plugs, you know. And when we started calling it party plugs, people just like, okay, well, it's party and it's earplugs. Fine, I'll grab some. And whatever you said, sure, you know, you have a point, but let's see what happens. I'll grab a few. So that's kind of how it worked for me. And this is about one of the really most simple ideas of making people believe in what you say, you know. You know, you have to find you know, a reason for people to buy something from you. And when you find it, you just apply that.
I see. Okay, well, next one.
Yeah,
I
go for it.
So you said that you were working on the concert event company, well,
Yeah,
the good selling company for 6 or 7 years, right?
yeah,
And at such a young age, like I wasn't persistent as you were when I was teenager. I was just like fucking around.
uh,
So this makes me very curious at such an early age, because resilience as a concept is something that we have to learn over time, right?
yeah,
As more experience comes up, like available. But
yeah.
then you were already pretty resistant in that sense. Like, what do you think made you to be very persistent over a long period of time?
I have to tell you, when I was young, I was really money horny. Like, really, like I was so money horny. Like, I saw money and I was like, oh my God, I got a hard on. Shit, I got to take more of this stuff. And, and, uh, that's kind of like, you know, when you had more, like, so let's say I was in high school, right? Like, or even like this was junior, this was high school. And I was in high school, and then all of a sudden, when you have enough money to like buy a car when you can't even drive one, you know, you have enough money to go to every party. You have enough money to party every weekend. You have enough money to do this and that, you know, whatever it was. For me, uh, I like that, you know. I had an apartment to live in before anybody in my class, you know, like anyone in my school. And I kind of fell in love with that lifestyle, I'd say. And then I kind of like, okay, well, I wanted to be, you know, I think I also saw all of this. This was one aspect. And then the other one was I was a little bit invincible when I was younger. I was really, really invincible. I had a super invincible mindset where I said to myself, you know, I'm going to be the greatest. You know, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the greatest. I'm going to do the most that anybody has ever done. Let's do it. I'm going to beat all my town, like whatever it was. And when you have that, you take massive action.
Right.
And that's what I did. I just took massive action to the belief that that would just take me somewhere where I wanted to go. And it did, you know, it totally did. And now I feel great.
Right. But how, like a lot of people, including myself, like a lot of times I hear this voice in my head to ask me, like, is this really gonna work? Like, what if I fuck up and I lose everything? Like, how do you fight against that voice? Like, what would you do if you were that early age, right? But then you're very early. You don't know like any better, and then this fear looks just so exaggerated.
It's always going to work. It's never not going to work.
But
So
how can you
that's a
build
fact.
that confidence?
No,
Which is
because it's
very
a fact,
interesting. That's
though.
amazing.
No, because it's a fact. It is a fact. It always works. It never doesn't work. Not one time in my life have I ever done something and I didn't get something out of it. Not once. I always got something out of it. Maybe it wasn't what I wanted. Maybe it wasn't what I expected, but it did take me somewhere else where I wanted to go. So, I mean, if you, a lot of people have this failure, you know, like, oh, well, I'll fail and this and that, but that's a lie. You know, you don't fail. You never fail. You just move on. You go somewhere else. And, and it's a part of it. And if you, I used to call it high rolling or, you know, balling or whatever you want to call it, you know? And that's basically the idea of just moving forward and doing what you know, like doing something that you like. And if you can't find a value that says like, okay, well, I like doing this and that in itself has value to me, then, I mean, then you're not doing something that you like. But even though you're not doing something that you like, you still learn something new. So you're not failing either way. But if you're doing something that you like, even though it's not making any money right now, I mean, how is that a fail? Like, you just spend some time doing something that you like. I mean, how is that a fail? You know, how does that end up on minus? Let's say that you even invested money and you did something that you like. How many times did you go to the bar and not invested money, but you spent money and you did something that you like and you never regretted it? Never.
Mm-hmm.
You just went, hell yeah, I spent a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I had a good time. Why can't you do that for yourself? You know, like, why can't you do that into yourself, your own personality or whatever it is, you know? So I don't believe that you fail.
Right. I see. Yeah. This actually makes me remember of something that I was thinking about other day. Like, a lot of people are so cynical that
Yeah.
they have to like think like, when it comes to dream and when it comes to pursuing the thing that they want,
Yeah.
their mindset really shifts and they become very cynical, and they say, this thing that I'm about to work on needs to prove me first before it starts working for me. And that life doesn't really work like that. You have to fucking work for yourself.
Yeah.
You have to build up. You have to be the one who puts out the energy first to get
Yeah.
something out of it. And then, like you said, like the bar thing, or when it comes to not about pursuing a dream, like people just consume stuff and spend money in stupid ways and they never regret. So
Yeah.
I very resonate with what you said.
But you know, you will find a lot of haters and naysayers in your life, you know, that you know, you'll have an idea, and then the first thing they try to do is they try to neg your idea and say, hey, you know, you're an idiot, that will never work. A million people that's tried that, they just, you know, it never happens, or this and that, or
Right.
yeah.
So
But,
I was
yeah, go for it.
so I actually made a video about this today earlier.
Okay.
And I
Cool.
called it as the fear of being incorrect in the culture of capitalism.
I see.
And what it means is that we are living in the world of capitalism, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's fantastic that we built this society in that way.
Okay.
However, the capitalism also comes with a cost. And I see this as one of the costs that we are facing as a result of capitalism. And what it means is, in capitalism, you needed to dominate the market. You needed to be the authority of the market. You needed to correct the voice of the market, right? Like, the more attention you grab, the more profit you're likely to make. And that equals to you being the authority of whatever the industry you're pursuing. So people care a lot about being correct, because it's, in a pure perspective of capitalism, that's how they gain money. But then when it comes to life, aside from business perspective, when it comes to life as a bigger picture, you are never really incorrect. Things don't really represent the right or wrong, because opinion is just an opinion, and everybody has different lifestyle, different beliefs, different everything. So one idea might not be helpful for some group of people, but then this idea can be helpful for other people, other kinds of group of people. So I think this fear is especially imposed by the system we live on, which is capitalism. Where everybody wants to look strong and everybody wants to look right. But then if we talk about, more humanistic, aspects of life, and also leadership and, things like this, I don't think being correct is necessarily the right word to use. I think you should try to be helpful rather than being come out as a authoritative or correct figure, the voice with the correct opinion. So that's what I talked about in the video.
I also think it has a little bit to do with the mission that you set up for yourself. A lot of people, they set the mission, at they make like a thing and they say, I want to get here. This is the place I want to get. If I don't get there, I'm failing, But you know, they kind of don't set up, you know, like, okay, well, if I get here, I fail or something like that. Instead of doing that, I think, you know, you should set up, okay, by doing this, I'm going to succeed in maybe if I get there, I succeed. If I learn something, I succeed. If I find out what I want in life, I succeed. If I realize I don't want this, I succeed. If I come up with an idea that I didn't have before, I succeed. Whatever it is, you know, like you can set up a lot more success factors than just, you know, like, okay, I'm just going there, and that might help to kill the failure fear that most people have, I think.
I agree. This is actually pretty interesting because that's exactly one of the things I talked about in my book. So
Yeah.
telepathy, right?
Yeah, man. That's cool. All right.
Perfect.
Tell
So
us about that. Tell us a little bit more about that, though. Like, what did
my
you talk
book,
about in your book?
yeah, well, it's a lot, man. It's 450 pages after all. So I can't really like compact all of it right now. But my book is about it's a tool to help you create the mental transformation that you need from being scared of, you know, experiencing adversity, which you needed to experience in order for you to really succeed.
Yeah.
Going from that to a person who's the first one to commit and decide to take action in life, right? So during this process, you have to go through different phases of mental transformation. Yeah. First, you start from building courage and building momentum, which takes a little bit of inspiration and desperation, as you talked earlier. And the second phase goes faith and resilience, which phase is like absolutely like mandatory for any success story, right? But this is the phase a lot of people tend to fail. But then I put out some mental tools that you can use that's going to shift your mindset around resilience, around failure in the book. So if you read these chapters about resilience, keeping up the resilience, you will learn how to look at failures and how to really shift your mindset around that. Were you about to say something?
By resilience, you mean like if you do something long enough, you'll succeed, kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Okay. Perseverance, yeah. So having the perseverance in your plan, right? And then the third one comes more of reflection of your success or reflection of your journey. So resilience is important, but I'm ending my book with a chapter that talks about what is success in life, right? So even if we want to succeed, we have this mission we are going after and everything like that. Like at the end of the day, the most important thing is not necessarily the destination, as we spoke about this before too, right? Yeah. But it's really not the destination, as you said, like the things you can learn, the emotions you can create, and how much more I'm seeing something.
No, sorry. I double tap the screen and it goes like to the other way. Sorry.
Yeah, don't worry. So, but I don't want to share all about it because I really want people to read it. It's an amazing book. I got so far. Well, I got editors' reviews up on my website. So if anybody's interested, and actually, it's interesting that my third phase that I just described has been the favorite chapters for both the editors. Yeah. So you'll enjoy the chapter as well. But that being said, I think I'm gonna close this for today. I think I got a lot of good contents from you today. So thank you very much. Yeah. I really had fun. Just talking
you gotta
with
do this
you
thing,
too.
girl.
Yeah.
Let's have some more discussions. Like,
yeah, we need to create
how do we
more
manage
series.
Life? How do we become like cool people? Yeah, let's do it.
This is just the first one, right? First episode between us. So we probably we're gonna probably improve our quality.
Yeah, for sure.
move forward. But you gotta start somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, I love that. It's so fun. All right.
Perfect. So I'll see you on Friday, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Hi,
So
buddy. Take care.
yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.